Welcome back, Stacking the Box. My name is Mike Luciano, and I am here with former West Virginia center Zach Frazier, a 2024 NFL Draft hopeful. Zach, thank you for taking the time to talk to us here today.
Thanks for having me.
So, first question, I don't want to bring it down immediately, but I feel like it's one of the hot topics when it comes to talking about you as a prospect. The broken leg that you suffered during your last game at West Virginia. How you feeling? Where you at recovery wise with that?
Yeah, I've recovered well. I'm ready to play football. Feel fully healthy and ready to line it up and play.
Nice, nice. So going into the draft, because center is always kind of a weird position for teams to evaluate because there's all this talk about converting guys and moving them around. And sometimes centers can be projected in the 20s and then they fall and then the other way around. So knowing that center can be a tough position as a draft prospect, what's been your sales pitch to some of the teams you visited with and some of the teams who were interested in you?
Yeah, I just talked mainly talked about the preparation that goes into studying game film, studying opponents, the work that I do week in, week out, and just the way I play the game, playing physical and setting the tone up front.
Nice. So, looking at the Senior Bowl, obviously you couldn't perform at the Senior Bowl because of the injury, but you still got to go, and I still think that's a sign that the league is thinking highly of you. What was that sort of experience like in terms of going up against the best and being around the best? What was your whole Mobile experience like?
Yeah, yeah. I accepted the invite. I think a couple of days after I got it. So I was excited to go down there and compete. It was unfortunate that I wasn't able, to do contact. Um, but yeah, it was a great experience, and I'm thankful that they still let me come down there and do some drills on air, and still learn the playbook and still get to meet with coaches and get to meet with scouts down there. It was really just a great experience.
Talking with West Virginia center Zach Frazier, who played a big part in the Mountaineers kind of getting back on track this season. Having played with Neal Brown at West Virginia, because he's a guy who, just from what I've seen, runs a very balanced offense, which it seems like could prepare an offensive lineman well for the pros. What was it like playing for Neal Brown? How well do you think he prepared you for going to the NFL?
Yeah, it was great. I think the thing about him is, we ran whatever was working that game. We didn't say we're only going to run, wide zone, or we're only going to run inside zone, or we're only going to run gap scheme. We kind of had all three, and then whatever was working that day is what we ran. So I think just being able to, I ran, all three of those schemes, and I think that was a big help. Just being able to do all three types.
So, looking at your West Virginia time, was there ever one play? Because you played against a bunch of pro prospects. I mean, West Virginia, Big 12, and all that. A lot of guys that are eventually going to go play in the NFL. Was there one guy that you played against where you're like, oh, we're definitely going to end up seeing each other again when we go to the NFL?
Um, in the Big 12, uh, Byron Murphy
Oh, I can
and the
imagine just
Texas guys. Yeah,
how
yeah, they
quick he
were.
is too. That'd be a problem.
Yeah, yeah, they were a challenge. But yeah, there's a lot of good D linemen in the Big 12.
Plus, you get Devondre Sweat too, who's 360 something pounds. I can't imagine that would have been easy for a center.
Yeah, yeah, he
So
he was huge.
with Zach Frazier, former West Virginia Mountaineer, of course, a wrestling champion in high school. And looking at how the NFL is kind of evaluated centers, a lot of times, a lot of the better linemen, especially on the interior, a lot of them have wrestling backgrounds. Do you think that that background really prepared you well for the NFL in just terms of the physicality, the ability to get angles, and how well do you think that your success as a wrestler helped you both in college and will help you in the pros?
Yeah, I feel like every snap played it as an offensive lineman uses some form of wrestling. Use your hands, use your feet and hips. It's really just understanding leverage and using that to move people, which is pretty much what we do every play.
So talking here with Zach Frazier, former West Virginia Mountaineer, because there's a lot of prospects interior line wise that have some pretty impressive film. You, of course, being one of them, but some of them are always looking for a way to maybe set themselves apart. Is there maybe like a hidden talent off the field that people don't really know about Zach Frazier that you think could really set yourself apart?
Um, I like to golf. I like to golf. I also do like woodworking projects. I
Ooh,
like to build things, stuff like that. But yeah,
woodworking. Wow. I mean, that's got to be probably hard to, it seems hard to get into woodworking, but am
yeah,
I
you
wrong?
have to have a good bit of tools, but I've just slowly bought more and more tools. But yeah, I have fun doing it.
Oh, nice. Maybe that could be after you get drafted. I need to go see like a big WV logo or whatever team drafts you. That could be some sort of, I feel like that could be a nice little craft to work on.
Yeah, definitely.
So stacking the box here with West Virginia center Zach Frazier. Really quick, are there any particular teams that you've met with that you've had a pretty good feeling about?
Um, I've pretty much met with almost every team in some capacity, but it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell who's interested. I try not to think, oh, they're really interested. I don't know. Just try to wait and see what happens, I guess.
Well, look, probably some team's going to take you pretty high based on all the projections out there. So that is Mike Luciano with Stack in the Box. Thank you guys for tuning in to this interview with West Virginia center Zach Frazier. Zach, we wish you all the best in the NFL, and thanks for taking the time out with us today.
Yep. Thanks for having me.